All right. Hey, you ready?
Sure.
Okay. There, my name is Benjamin Sereika, and today I'm going to be doing an assessment of you. Thank you for coming in. And I was wondering if what's your name?
Oh, my name is Jane Doe.
Hi, Jane. Is that your full name?
Yes.
Okay, great. Are there any specific ways you would like me to address you or refer to you?
You can just call me Jane.
Okay. Jane, how old are you?
I am 40. Sorry. Oh, what am I? 43.
43. And currently, where are you living?
In Honolulu, Hawaii.
Okay. And how long have you lived there?
My whole life.
Born and raised.
Yes.
What is your current marital status or relationship status?
I'm married.
And can you tell me a little bit about your family?
Sure. Let's see. I met my husband in high school, and we have been married for about 16, 17 years. Sorry, I can't count. Um, we have two boys, ages 15 and 13.
Okay.
Sorry, are you getting an echo or no? Or is it just my phone?
It might be you on your end. You're a little broken up, but I can still hear you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so 15 and 13. So my older one is in school and my younger one is in middle school.
Okay.
Um, we are a baseball family, so we spend a lot of time at baseball fields. And we also like to travel.
I didn't catch that last part. What was that?
Oh, we like to travel.
Have you been anywhere recently?
We took my son. My older son is currently trying to get recruited for college baseball, so we did some baseball prospect camps, and then also um, did a lot of tournaments this summer for travel ball.
That sounds great. You guys are busy.
Yeah.
Jane, are you currently employed?
I am.
Can you tell me a little bit about your work?
Sure. So I work in the medical field. Um, I've been in this field for uh, maybe about 16 years. Um, yeah, so I actually work at a local hospital.
Okay. You're in the medical field. Do you provide medical care or do you assist with operations?
No, I actually work in the medical social work department.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
And have you been doing that your whole career?
Yes.
That's great. I myself am an aspiring social worker.
Thanks.
Mhm. Um, do you feel comfortable sharing any information about your financial situation right now?
Sure.
Just like get a background on you. If not, we can come back to it another time.
No, I'm okay. So I'm not even sure I really know totally, but as far as like financial, you're talking about just my income or my husband's and mine together?
In totality, I'd say your family situation, whether it be your income, your housing, your access to healthcare and insurance, just
Oh, okay.
just broad strokes.
I honestly don't know like the actual income I want, and then partly because, like for me, I work two jobs. So I work one part time and one full time.
I
And
see.
the reason for that is because um, my boys are expensive.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, sorry, I'm hearing a lot of echo. So if I am pausing and I sound awkward, that's the reason.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Um, let
Let
me
me
try
see if
something.
I can change that.
No, it's
Give me 1 second, okay?
okay.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
And how is that echo? Is it any better?
Let me see. Yep, I don't hear myself echoing anymore.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I had a feeling it had something to do with the computer speaker itself. So I
Oh,
apologize about that.
okay.
I had
No,
it turned up loud enough that it was feeding back into the microphone.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
okay, so as far as like I don't know exactly like what my income is. I
mhm,
want and the thing is too, like I actually am working one full-time job and one part-time job.
okay.
Um and that's basically because, well, one that my previous employer had requested that I, kind of just continue even though I took a new job, just to
Mhm.
help, train and whatnot. But yeah, so I I am pretty confident to say that between my husband and I think annually it's probably over 200,000 a year.
Okay.
I think. I honestly
Okay.
don't know,
Yeah,
but
the
yeah,
specific isn't necessarily important. It's that it's an, what's it called? I was just trying to get an impression of
yeah,
where you're at
yeah,
financially.
yeah.
That's all.
But I mean,
And
even
from
like, yeah, and even like for me, like I feel like, okay, if that's how much we do have as income, living
mhm.
in Hawaii, that definitely doesn't go very far, right? Like I still
Yeah,
feel like
absolutely.
we live paycheck to paycheck, and I definitely try to save for retirement and whatnot, but it's hard. Like having two kids who are active in sports and trying to help fulfill their dreams and whatnot, it's hard. So we do what we do to
Hmm.
kind of just make ends meet and to be able to live a comfortable life. But yeah, so yeah, so with my two jobs, and then my husband also, you know takes pretty much all the overtime he can get to,
I see.
yeah. um we own a three-bedroom townhome in Hawaii Kai,
Hmm.
um but we're currently renting that out, and then we moved in with my in-laws to help take care of my um husband's grandfather, who is a veteran, or was a veteran, I should say. So we moved in to help take care of him, but he has since passed away. So we're still living, in
Okay.
that home. And then we're renting out our unit, which helps financially. So that's additional income to what we get. Um, as far as healthcare goes,
Mhm.
we both, we have insurance through my employer. Um, yeah.
Okay. So,
And sorry,
so
what else?
everybody's covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
and just to maybe get a better idea too, because it sounds like everybody works quite a bit in the family. You have two jobs, your husband's picking up all the overtime he can.
yeah.
Approximately how many hours a week do you think each of you work?
Um, okay, so like for my full time, I work 40, and then for my part time, I think I'm supposed to work at least 8 hours a week. So maybe I want to say maybe like an extra 9 to 10 hours a week. So it's not a
Okay,
lot, but it helps as far as the income
absolutely.
goes. Yeah.
And how
And
many
then my
hours do you think your husband works?
um in general, it's normally 40, but then they have overtime every weekend, which he likes to take. So that would probably be an additional 8 hours per week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So roughly speaking, just generally speaking, I should say it's about 50 hours a week for each person.
Yeah. I think that's
Okay.
safe to say.
Okay. Um, what is the highest level of education you've completed?
I completed my master's
Where did you get your master's at?
at the University of Hawaii.
Okay. Cool. Just over at Manoa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. And when did you complete that? And what did you get? What did you get that in, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, sorry. Well, sorry. Could you repeat that?
Yeah. When did you earn your master's?
Oh, okay.
And where did, excuse me, and what did you obtain your master's in?
Oh, okay. Actually, it was in 2006. Yeah,
Okay,
2006. And then it was in social work.
perfect. And can you tell me a little bit about your cultural background or what cultural influences are important to you, including religious
Mhm.
practices?
Sure. Well, so growing up, my dad was kind of involved with this church, and I honestly don't know. It's like a Japanese church, so I don't
Mhm,
exactly know what the religion is. Of course, I couldn't understand anything that they were saying, um, but I kind of, uh, for me, I think I'm follow more along the lines of Christianity. Like, I used to
mhm,
attend church with my friends and whatnot, but honestly, like I, have a um what do you call it, religious beliefs, but just I'm not a practicing religious person. Like I don't go to church regularly or anything like that. I
I
just
see.
believe. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that information with me.
Mhm.
So, if you don't mind, what brought you brought you in today? What brought you to see me into our program?
Yeah. So, um, I guess I've been struggling, and I think it's more like has been somewhat of like a denial. Like I think, well, I'm starting to realize that I think I um suffer not suffer, but I have anxiety, and maybe even a little bit of depression, and just like maybe feeling overwhelmed. And, my doctor has always talked to me about it, but I was kind of in disbelief. I was kind of like, no, I don't have that. And, you know, she would mention, maybe starting medications, but I was like, no, I
Mhm.
don't need it. And I think
Yeah.
partly because I work in um, the health field, like even though I shouldn't be, um, I shouldn't worry about the stigmas and whatnot. I do, and it's
Mhm.
it's different when it's yourself, right? Like if I'm working with a patient, of course it doesn't bother me, like the any sort of mental health or any issues like that. But then, like with my personal self, like sometimes I find that I am in disbelief and just struggle with it. But now as I getting older, like it seems to be a little bit more um, of an issue. Um, yeah, I mean, and the more I learn about it, the more I hear that um, it's a lot more common than what I thought. Like I'm talking
Mm.
with friends, and I hear that they all have the same issue. They have anxiety, they have panic attacks, and I don't know if I actually had one. Maybe I did, but maybe I just didn't realize it at that time. But yeah, I kind of just struggle with that, and just a lot going on in my life right now, like with the two kids, and just so much pressures of, my son's trying to get recruited into a college so that he can get a good college education. And
Mhm.
yeah, and then my younger one, he um, that's also been a big challenge for me, and because he was diagnosed with ADHD, and so even for that, I was in denial, at one
Mhm.
point. So that's kind of been a struggle ever since he was in elementary school. Like
Mhm.
um, I was just in denial, and I kind of just didn't really believe, maybe just because it felt so, I guess the assessments that were done, it just felt so, what is the word I'm trying to look for? Objective, like, well, subjective, maybe. I'm not even sure. Like subjective, maybe, like just,
Okay.
yeah. So
Maybe you
just,
could describe, yeah, I'm sorry, go right ahead.
yeah, just a lot going on. And, like just, with living in Hawaii, everything is so expensive, and just like every month having to, um, worried like, oh my gosh, like with all the expenses that we have, like I don't want to go into debt. I don't want to build credit card bills and, all that kind of stuff. So just a lot going on, and just it causes a lot of stress, and just, yeah, if that
I
makes
see.
sense.
It does. It's quite a bit, um, but it does make sense. Sounds like you're going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like it's one thing in particular. It sounds like it's a lot of different things.
Right. And
It's,
my personality is like, I am a very emotional person, and so, like for me, it would be, like a simple thing as, my son getting sick, and having to go to the hospital, like, to get evaluated, like something like that. It makes me highly anxious and worried, versus, like with my husband, he doesn't have that same sort of reaction. Like, he's a lot more laid back, and even when it comes to my kids' grades, like, I'm so high strung, and just, I don't know. It's just, it's hard. It's hard.
yeah. Uh, So it sounds like again, you've got quite a bit. Everything from just the general expenses of being in Hawaii, to
Mm-hmm.
raising your children here,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the difficulties of everyday life of just being a mom that cares about her children and her family and just doing the best that she
Mm-hmm.
can. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One thing I didn't really hear, um, it I, how about your job? Or is it seems like you get a lot of stress from these other places in your life. How was
Mm-hmm.
work for you?
Um, so in general, like, I
Mhm.
love the population that I work with. Um, and for the most part, I I like the population I work with.
Mhm.
For the most part, I love the people that I work with, but it's the environment. Um, my workplace environment can be quite hostile at sometimes. Just different personalities
Mhm.
within the department. And so that in itself makes for, feeling very uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and so that's why I actually had left that situation, but that's why I'm more of a part-time employee in that with that employer than being a full-time.
I
And I
see.
think it's worked out a lot better. But yeah, there was it's yeah, it's kind of a, yeah, it was just really difficult. Like, just different personalities, and I didn't want to, be in the middle of um any sort of drama, or just, I'm not sure really how to describe it. It's a lot of different personalities in that department, and then, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to describe it. I
Okay.
personally didn't have any issues with any particular person, but just being, sometimes in the middle of it, it creates like a very uncomfortable situation, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's just hard. So,
I see.
um, it has worked out where, um, now that I'm part time, I don't really have to deal with that anymore. Um, so yeah, I think as far as like a career move, I think I made the right decision. But it definitely helps to have that part time job still. I'm not going to complain
Okay.
about that. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So it sounds like you found a way to remove yourself from a negative situation, or at least minimize the effects, but
Yeah.
still, accept the benefits of a second job that you perform well at.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah.
Um, okay.
I still hope.
Now,
I still hope to. I still hope at one point to be able to just work one job. But right now, I mean, I again, I cannot complain. It's helping, like with financially, with um, with our expenses, and
yeah, absolutely.
like yeah, with our family. So
Okay. Um, no, it sounds like you've had these sort of feelings of generalized anxiety and some underlying depression for some
mhm.
time. Um, have you seen anybody in the past for these particular problems?
So I did actually, and it wasn't actually supposed to be for me. So
Okay.
initially when we were going through the process of having my son um, evaluated for
Hmm.
ADHD, we were required to initially get linked up with a psychologist for the
Okay.
assessments and then eventually referred to a psychologist. And so part of going through that process, it kind of almost turns into like family counseling.
Mm,
And so, in discussing like just um, parenting and parenting and whatnot, like, of course, that brings up a lot of things that maybe, my husband and I have issues with,
I
together.
see.
And so it kind of
Hmm.
turned into family counseling. And then at one point, um, then I actually saw the, just had a conversation on my own, so sometimes, um, yeah. So in a way, yes, I did, but it's not like something that it was just kind of like a one time thing.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
But being involved in that sort of environment, it highlighted or it brought to light some things maybe you didn't see before. Okay.
Yeah.
How is that an
Yeah.
accurate way of putting it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, I think so. Like just from that one appointment, like because I was so much in denial about possibly having anxiety and maybe even a little bit of depression, like, it
Hmm.
made me, I got even emotional, while during the session, um, working with the psychiatrist.
I see.
Um, yeah, just because I was still in denial, I was like, like it's just
Hmm.
hard to think that, okay, well, I have anxiety, or maybe I have depression, who knows, right? Just, yeah. But in addition to that, like,
Hmm.
everything else, I didn't mention that, um, my health has been an issue as well.
Mm.
Um, I noticed that as I'm getting older, it's, even if I'm eating less, like, because my jobs are where, I'm pretty much sitting all day, like, I
Mhm.
can't lose weight and I'm actually gaining weight, like, so it's just a struggle. And then that, with a family history of, um, diabetes and, all of those sort of things, that's a worry too. Right. And so,
Mhm.
I'm constantly, concerned about that. But yet at the same time, I know what I need to do, but I'm just so tired and I don't make the time to exercise when I know I should.
Mm. I
Yeah.
see.
So that's a struggle as well.
Okay. Um, now, have you found when you're experiencing these things,
Hmm.
um, in particular the anxiety or maybe um, that depression, do you find that there's anything that helps with those particular problems? Is there any
Mm,
coping strategies that you might be able to implement or that you do implement currently?
honestly, I mean, I think right now, like it's okay. I mean, I'm a highly anxious person. I'm a worry wart. So
Mm,
for me, like I think the fact that I worry so much, like for me, I just need to talk it through with somebody. Like I need to kind of process what I'm thinking and then kind of hear feedback from somebody else. So a lot of times I like to talk to my friend. Like I don't know, she just gives a lot of great advice. So that's what I've kind of been doing, just bouncing things off of her. And, she really provides great suggestions or just listens really. Yeah.
mhm. It's great to hear that you have somebody that that you can reflect with, and that does offer good sound advice that you find
Yeah.
useful and helpful. That's
Yeah.
good to hear.
Yeah.
How often would you say you have these particular issues or these particular feelings?
I mean, honestly, it's not, well, I wouldn't say like, um, so one time, I mean, as far as like the anxiety, like or like a panic attack, I think it happened maybe like once or twice. And it's kind of strange because it happened while I was in the shower. So like it doesn't make sense to me because normally when you're in the shower, you're relaxed and whatnot, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of felt it was weird. Like I kind of had a panic attack in the shower, which then after that, it was kind of like I was afraid to go into the shower. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or if I'm going to shower, I gotta get in and get out like real quick, right? Because I didn't want it to happen again. But really, since then, it hasn't really happened. Maybe it just happened like once or twice. But other than that, it's more just my normal, um, just my normal worrying about everything, and it could just be my personality. It may not necessarily be like full on anxiety. It's more just my personality that I'm a worry wart.
Sure. Um, uh, well, you said it has been getting progressively worse, so it does seem like something that's become a problem where it's been affecting the quality of your life. So
Yeah.
when did you first notice thing? Maybe you define this as maybe it's just part of your personality, but
Hmm.
um, it has been affecting you greatly. So
Hmm.
what sort of impacts has it had on you? And when did you start noticing those impacts becoming significant?
Um, oh, I mean, I can't quite, I don't know quite how to answer that. I think just like so the actual panic attacks probably happened maybe like 5 years ago. And since then,
Okay.
it really hasn't happened like that. Like, um, but as far as like the worrying, everything worry. Like I worry about everything. I worry about my kids' grades. I worry about, you know, um, you know, them getting into trouble. I worry about money. I worry about, it's just, I worry about everything, but just not to the extent that like I cannot function day to day. Cause
Mhm.
I do, like I'm working, I still work the two jobs. It's not like there's any sort of, feedback that I'm not getting my work done or anything like that. But just like, I personally feel like I wish I could just relax a little bit more, and
Mm.
find, um, yeah, because I guess I just and the hard part is I compare myself to people a lot, and I
Mhm.
compare my kids to people a lot, and that really, I guess, maybe contributes to how I'm feeling, right? Like
I see.
yeah.
See.
But I don't
Okay.
think it really significantly at this point. I don't think it really significantly affects um my life. I just wish it could be a little bit better. Okay. And I
Okay.
guess, yeah, I'm just really not sure how to explain it.
Yeah, that's fine. And I know you said that you haven't received necessarily any treatment for this before. It just sort of came to light in an evaluation of your son. Are you opposed to treatment at this point in time? What are your thoughts on seeking treatment in the future for this?
To be honest, I
Mhm.
don't really want to because and that's just my mind, of course, thinking, but at least I can admit to it. Like I don't, I guess I just keep thinking of the stigma attached to it, but I know I should. So I guess maybe I'm not totally opposed to it, but I'm not totally wanting to either. But I'm not opposed to it,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
I think it does. What I'm hearing is that this may be a little bit of an exaggeration, so you can tell me if this makes any sense, but
Mhm.
almost like a necessary evil. Like it's not
Yeah,
something you necessarily want to do, but I think you see long a long-term benefit for something like this. Something
right.
has
Yeah,
okay. Change has to happen because it sounds like these problems have just been getting progressively worse for you.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and you said since your panic attack about 5 years ago, how would you say that these sort of symptoms um, sort of come up in your life on a regular basis? How does that look to you? How do you know when you're feeling this way, or how do you interact with other people around you?
Yeah. I honestly don't know what triggered it. All I remember was that um at that time, gosh, yeah, I don't know really necessarily what honestly brought it on, to be honest. Like I just remember being in the shower, kind of like, you know, getting to the point of like making myself sick,
Mhm.
and then like getting super anxious because, oh, I forgot to mention, like I have a phobia of of
Mm.
of vomiting or seeing people vomit. So I don't know what happened there, but it triggered something to the point of like me feeling a little bit like nauseated. But then I got
Mm.
anxious because I didn't want to throw up, if that makes sense. So I honestly don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Um, but I do have acid reflux too, which has been pretty bad since when I was in college is when it actually started, my
Mhm.
acid reflux. And so I'm not on any medication for that, but just I gotta watch, the types of foods that I eat, and of course not laying down, right before going to bed and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I honestly don't know what triggered, that episode. And
Sure.
again, it only happened that one time, and then maybe one time, but not as severe one time after
Okay.
that. But then other than that, it's been fine. And I currently don't have any issues like showering or whatnot.
Sure.
Any phobias or anything like that.
Mhm. Like maybe to follow up on that a little bit, one of the things
Yeah.
I'm wondering is it's you sort of said earlier it's getting worse.
Hmm.
That's what brought you to this point. Something needs to change. What is it that you've seen in your behavior that's been worrisome to you?
Uh,
Is it the frequency of these feelings? Is it the intensity? Has it worn with maybe you're seeing it's affecting your children? I don't mean to
mhm.
put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, I think overall, just how anxious or how worried I am about everything, whether it's
Mhm.
finances, family life, everything. It's just everything. And, my family is starting to, you know, make comments about me being so angry all the time, and just, um, it's, I'm going to be honest, it's affecting my relationship with my kids. It's affecting my relationship with my husband. And so I do think I need, something needs, I do need to do something, right, before it's too late. Like I don't want to not have a relationship with either of them.
Mhm.
um Again, it's not affecting my ability to function like work wise, but maybe just more my personal life. um yeah, I think the worry about everything, and maybe it's just because it's like additional stressors, in life,
Mhm.
and everything just keeps compounding, and just, yeah. So that's what I mean by like getting worse. Like I
I
worry
see.
about everything.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Um, is there anything maybe you can tell me about your current living situation that makes or affects the issues you're dealing with, affects you?
My living situation.
Mhm.
um
Just at home or with the children, the relationships.
hmm. I mean, I have a little bit. Okay, so my son high school is he doesn't go to the the high school that we're in the district for. He goes to a school um that's outside of our district from where we live.
Hmm.
And so because of that, he lives with my parents. He lives with his grandparents during the week. And, even that, I feel like I'm missing out on his childhood a little bit, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like
Okay.
I'm not going to be able to get these years back, but this is what he wants to do, and I'm going to support him. And the reason why he's going to this particular high school is because of baseball. So,
Okay.
I definitely try to make it a point to visit him often, always talking to him, but yet, just it's the he's a normal teenager, right? Like we're gonna fight. He and I argue,
Yeah.
get into
Yes.
heated arguments and whatnot. But just like that's as far as family life, I feel like that has been a struggle for me because I feel like I'm gonna, regret him living away from home during these years. And maybe once he gets his license, then he can, come back here, which isn't that far,
Hmm.
and then he can commute. But for now, he is living with my parents, which is closer to his high school
I
during
see.
the week. Yeah.
I see. Um, so that's you do have some social supports here to assist with particular things. It sounds like there's a give and take between that, though.
Yeah.
But do you feel isolated in managing these problems, or do you feel like you have sufficient assistance from the people around you?
No, I mean, I think we as a family definitely have a lot of support. I think
Hmm.
because of the Hawaii culture, because our family lives here, both our parents, my husband and I's parents, are very supportive and help us with the kids. So, but yeah, I feel like I'm just struggling with my internal feelings
I see.
alone. And that
Okay.
nobody, like my husband can't relate to me because we have different personalities. So I just feel that alone in that sort of sense.
Sure. That I understand.
Yeah.
Um, right. We are kind of coming up on time for our um, interview
Okay.
or for the end of
Yeah.
our assessment.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with me? Maybe about this particular problem? Maybe
Um,
unmentioned health concerns, more background information about the particular problem. I know we have covered pretty thoroughly, but is there anything else maybe on second thought?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. Um, maybe a last question for you is what are your hopes or expectations for your treatment
Mhm.
moving forward here?
I really don't have any expectations. I just would like to hopefully see some improvements in the way I cope with whatever it is that I'm struggling with, like as far as like my anxiety or worry in life. I don't have expectations, but it would be nice if there's a way that I can lessen or deal better with the things that I worry about every day.
Absolutely. That sounds very reasonable.
Yeah.
Um, well, if you don't have anything else for me, I'd like to thank you for your time. I appreciate it, Gene.
Yes, no, thank you.
I look forward to meeting with you again.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.